Beneath the Silence of the Rubble, May 2025. A warm spring day began as usual in the small coastal town of San Mario, nestled peacefully by the seaside. The streets were full of life. Children rushed to school, cafés filled with tourists, and vendors were setting up their morning market stalls. No one knew that in just a few hours this city would lie in ruins. The ground suddenly trembled. At first, it was just a slight shake, as if a truck had rumbled by. People exchanged glances. Someone chuckled, thinking it was nothing. But within seconds, the earth began to heave violently beneath their feet. The tremors came like a crashing wave. Asphalt split open like thin ice, and buildings started to crumble before their eyes. An ancient stone church, which had stood for centuries, split in half, its bell tower collapsing and burying passersby beneath it. "Get outside! Run to open space!" Someone shouted from afar. But there wasn't enough time to escape. The earthquake reached a magnitude of 7.9. Buildings collapsed like house cards, leaving behind clouds of dust and muffled cries. When the tremors finally stopped, a dreadful silence followed. From beneath the rubble, faint voices still called out. People were crying for help, tapping on debris in the hope that someone would hear. In a residential block where life once thrived, now stood only mountains of shattered concrete and twisted metal. Under one of those piles was a family, a father, mother, and their 10-year-old son named Miguel. "I'm scared," the boy whispered in the darkness. "Hold on, son. We'll get out." The father struggled to speak. His legs were trapped under a concrete slab, and his breathing was labored. They banged on pipes, shouted as loudly as they could. Hours dragged on endlessly. Dust choked their lungs, and the air grew heavier. Miguel whispered weakly, "No, son. Don't sleep. Please don't sleep." His father's voice trembled, but he refused to give up. Rescuers risked their lives as they dug through the rubble. The cries of those trapped beneath the debris were fading. "Someone's here," one of the rescuers shouted, hearing faint tapping. They worked quickly, clearing the stones with their bare hands, until they finally uncovered Miguel. Exhausted but alive, the boy had been shielded by his father's arms, who had sacrificed himself to protect his son from the falling debris. The father did not survive. Miguel was carried away on a stretcher, while the rescuers stood quietly by the ruins, knowing there were many more tragic stories hidden beneath the rubble. Aftermath. The earthquake claimed hundreds of lives, and thousands were left homeless. The once vibrant town of San Mario was reduced to ruins. Yet amid the tragedy, there were stories of survival, stories of those who fought until the end, of heroes who refused to give up, and of people who, despite their grief and loss, found the strength to move forward. All that remained of San Mario was the memory of the day the earth shook, and of those who refused to let hope die.